friends, welcome back to the Loosely Bound channel. Porter and I just finished reading The Companion by Katie Alender. So today we're going to review it and just talk about what happened in the book with no spoilers. I started reading The Companion on October 30th and I just finished it last night on November 2nd, so it was a pretty quick read. It comes in at around 400 pages, I think a little over 400 pages, but the print and the spacing is all pretty big, so it looks like it's going to be kind of a thicker book, but it really doesn't take too much time. I found The Companion on Goodreads a few weeks ago and I thought the cover looked really cool. It's got a spoon with some pins all stacked up in the spoon, and I thought it looked really creepy and just like it would be interesting. So I picked it up at Barnes & Noble and I immediately started reading it. It was the first book that I started reading after I went to Barnes & Noble, and I got quite a few things. I actually have a book haul video. If you guys want to check that out, I will put it in a little card up here somewhere. When I found The Companion on Goodreads, I knew it had a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people really enjoyed it and rated it highly, and a lot of people felt that it was very mediocre and average. So I went into it with mixed expectations. I was hoping it was going to be good, and I knew that there was a risk that it would not be so excellent, but I wanted to give it a shot anyway, and it ended up not being so excellent. After I read The Companion, I gave it 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. We'll dive into why I rated it so lowly in just a second, but if you haven't heard of The Companion, let's do a quick little synopsis so you have an idea of what the heck happens in this book. The Companion is told from the viewpoint of a 17-ish-year-old orphan named Margot. At the beginning of the book, her entire family dies in a car accident and she is the only survivor. She ends up being sent to a state home for a bit, but then she learns that a very wealthy family called the Sutton family has agreed to take her in. But once she gets to the Sutton family home, she learns that they have an ulterior motive. They want her to help take care of and provide companionship for their daughter Agatha, who is basically brain dead. She can still function as far as eating and feeding herself, taking very simple commands, and so on and so forth, but for the most part she's totally mute and just totally vacant in her eyes. There's just nothing happening up there. Margot agrees to become Agatha's companion, but shortly after she starts living with the Sutton household, she realizes that some things are not what they seem. So overall, I really thought the plot of the story was going to go far and do great things, but there are so many different aspects that made The Companion really just fall flat for me. I do want this to be a review and a synopsis that doesn't contain any spoilers, so I'm going to be a little bit vague with my opinions here, but let's go through and name off all of the reasons that I would not recommend The Companion to anyone. Number 1, our main character Margot is just the dumbest person that I have ever followed in a novel. Throughout the story, she's finding all of these clues, all of these things that should allow her to piece together what the heck is actually going on in the household, and she just not only doesn't put them together, but just doesn't seem to think that they're very urgent. At one point she finds a really huge clue that will tell her basically what exactly is happening with the Sutton family and why they are acting the way they are, and in the book she literally just forgets about it. She finds the clue and then an entire day later she's like, oh yeah, I just remembered that I had this, maybe I should check it out now. And I was like, what? Aside from her just being head-bashingly annoying, Katie Alender also felt the need to put in a terribly forced, terribly awkward, and terribly cringy romance. The romance portions of this book totally were the most awkward things that I had ever read. I was cringing the whole time. I was hoping that they would just hurry up and finish so we could get back to the main point of The Companion, because the romance portions did absolutely nothing to drive the plot at all. You could easily just take those sections out and have the exact same story without wasting an hour of my life. Another thing that drove me absolutely nuts trying to get through this book was the freaking ending. It was one of those super quick wrap-ups where the author tried to tie it all together in an epilogue, and it just did not work. She left out significant characters. We had no idea where our people ended up or what some of them even thought about what happened in the twist. There was also clues that Margot had found that never had their significance explained, and just way too many holes were left and loose strings that never got tied up that I was feeling so upset when I finished it. I was like, oh, I guess that's it. Thanks, Katie. And the last major point that I have about why the companion drove me absolutely nuts in the worst way possible is the cover has nothing to do with the plot of the story. If you guys watched the book haul video where I picked up the companion, one of the things that drew me in to buying this book was the cover art. But at no point does a spoon full of pins ever tie into anything that happened in the companion, even remotely. Having cover art like that and then not having a story that delivers makes me feel like I just clicked on a super clickbaity YouTube video, and I do not like that feeling at all. So I was super bummed out that the story did not hit me the way I thought it would after I looked at the cover of this book. In its defense though, I will say there was one really cool reoccurring thing that happened throughout Margot's stay at the Sutton house, and the way that this one instance was explained at the end, it did catch me off guard, and I did love how Katie Alender tied that back in. If you guys read this book, I'm sure you'll know exactly which part I'm talking about as soon as you get to it, because I was like, that's cool right there. But other than that, I really do think the companion had so much potential and it just totally fell flat. I was able to figure out the entire plot within the first 150 pages. The whole middle part of the book was wasted on a terribly written romance. Margot had me pulling my hair out, just telling her like, please just figure it out. Why are you so dumb? There was holes, loose strings. Just overall, it was not the worst thing that I've ever read in my life, but I can't with good conscience actually recommend the companion to anyone. But different strokes for different folks. The companion did have some really, really high reviews on Goodreads. So if you want to check it out for yourself and see if this may be something that you're interested in, I'll go ahead and post the link in the description box below so you can grab a copy for yourself. If you've read the companion and felt the same way that I did, or are one of the people that actually really loved it, leave a comment below and let me know what you thought, because I'm really interested in hearing other people's opinions on this book. Thank you guys so much for hanging out while Porter and I reviewed The Companion by Katie Alender. We'll see you in the next video. Bye!